Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunday Afternoon Smokes, your casual conversation podcast from the upstate of South Carolina. My name is Chris. I'm your host. I'm a realtor. I'm also the owner and operator of The Cigar Box, a mobile cigar bar that serves the upstate and beyond. If you've been enjoying Sunday Afternoon Smokes, or SAS for short, drop me a review. I would appreciate it. Today I have the opportunity to sit down with Justin McComas. Did I say that right?
Yes, it is.
Justin McComas and Mike Malloy. All right. So, Justin and Mike, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
How you doing?
Absolutely. So, what I like to do on my show is I simply let my guests introduce themselves. So, both of you just take a minute, say as much or as little about yourself as you like, and then we will get into it.
Sounds good. My name is Justin McComas. Spent roughly 26 years in law enforcement out on the crazy West Coast. Finally escaped. My wife and I moved out here in 2022, seeking asylum. Happy to be here, and got a crazy idea for a new business, and my buddy Mike and I decided to take off with it. So that's where we are.
Hi, I'm Mike Malloy. I'm same routine. I was in the academy with Justin way back when. Did 27 years with the sheriff's office out there on the west side. Was happy to move on from there. My wife still works in the field out here in Greenville County. She's a criminalist out here. And
A criminalist?
A criminalist.
What is that?
She's the one that analyzes the firearms and drug-related evidence in cases, CSI type crap.
Nice.
So yeah, she's in the lab out here, and we just came out here on a fluke. Her folks live out here in Lake Hartwell.
Yeah.
We found a house on vacation. I said, "There's not going to get better than this." So I grabbed a house out in Greenville, and my wife got a job not long after that out here, and I found out just by sheer coincidence that my old partner Justin bought a house an hour away.
Oh, okay. I wonder.
Sheer coincidence.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
Justin
Small
came up with a
world,
nice
right?
business idea. Yeah, isn't it crazy? And Justin came up with a great business idea not too long ago. And so here we are starting to work together again.
Nice. That's a wild story that both of you served. Well, you said you were in the academy together, right?
That's right.
In the academy together, officers together, and then just coincidentally basically moved to the same place.
That's right.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. We hadn't even talked about it. It was just one of those.
Sure. Yeah, it just worked out that way. Okay, cool. Well, look, today I am not recording at my house like I usually would be. I am at Justin's house. Thank you for your hospitality, sir.
Absolutely.
And we are recording from his, what do you call this room?
It's my cigar room, man cave, my retreat.
Yeah.
I love it. It's the one room in the house that I got. So we actually built the house from scratch. We bought the property in late 21. Made several trips out here to try and find it. Located the property. Found a builder, and then started building around mid to late 22. Took us about 14 months to get the build done. Obviously my wife had all the ideas for the main part of the house, and it came out fantastic because she has great taste. Hope she
married you after all.
Well, yeah,
Great taste.
She's only listening. You can be honest.
Yeah, only 31 years later. That's all right. But this is the one room that I got in the house, and I just made it my own. It worked out pretty good. We got to pick the colors, the flooring. I did the live edge shelf myself. Brought in some comfy chairs, and funny story, when we're getting ready to do this, I talked to the builder, and he says, "Oh yeah, I can do smoking rooms, no problem." And I said, "Okay, great." So he gets to the construction part of it, started to put things together, and I said, "Well, what are you going to do for the ventilation?" And he says, "Well, I'll just put in like a bathroom fart fan." I went, that's not going to happen.
No.
That's not going to work. I said, "Well, if you got an idea, if you want to know what you want to do, go ahead and do it." Okay, so I went out and had a buddy out there that was an electrician for 30 years, 40 years, and talked to him, and he's a cigar guy as well, and he told me about the Vortex inline fan that mounts up in the ceiling.
Right.
And so I bought it and mounted it up there, and had the electrician put in an extra plug and a switch, and got it all hooked up in there. Ran the ducting myself, ran it out to the soffit, did vents outside, and so I've had 5 people down here at one time smoking, and
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay, so like I'm trying to avoid the sin of covetousness at the moment because I have a guest room downstairs that I would love to turn into a smoking, like it would be my smoking / podcast studio.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it would be very similar to this, but it would have would have comfy chairs that have a TV on the wall. I'd probably have my Sunday Afternoon Smokes logo and a neon sign and just, all that stuff, but also a place for sports or video games or whatever it was I wanted to do.
Sure.
But you've got in here, so you have smoke ventilation, but you don't have filtration.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so the air coming in, I do have an industrial ventilation system that's in this very next room over here. So if it gets, usually it's just for the finished product. So the air coming in is coming through my central HVAC, and that's all filtered, of course. So the air pumping in is filtered. The smoke being pulled up and blown out is just for exhaust.
Yeah, so you have this exhaust fan, or more or less, that's what it is. It's an exhaust fan,
right?
And it's we're venting the smoke out of the room to the outdoors. But there's no rabbit air or any type of smoke filtration. But I will say, like, how often do you smoke in here?
Almost every day.
Like when I came in here, I did not say to myself, "This smells like cigars." It smells like smoke.
Right.
So it's what your system is working very well.
The system works very well. It's drawing from the unfinished storage and coming out of the door. And that's where a lot of our fresh air is coming from. You have to have, and I learned this from my buddy who was an electrician for a long time. He turned his garage into his smoking room. And so what he discovered in his trials is that you have to have the exact amount of return air that you do exhaust air. Otherwise, you end up creating a vacuum, and then the smoke just stays. So you want a free-flowing atmosphere where the smoke could just blow all the way out. So the unfinished storage in here is also humid. It's climate controlled, so you're getting the same temperatures we have in here pulling into this room as it gets blown out. And then the regular HVAC system is replacing that with air-conditioned air as well. So as long as you've got a continuous flow of air coming from somewhere and going out at the same volume, you're fine. And then what I do after I get done having my cigar, I'll leave the fans on for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes afterwards, just to get any residual leftover smoke out. And then I have, like I said, it's an industrial air scrubber in this next room. It's pretty good size. If it gets real bad, if I have 5 people in here, usually with 3 of us, it's fine. I don't worry about it. If I have a lot of people in here and we're watching games all night and we're in here smoking for, 5, 6, 7 hours, I'll just roll that air scrubber in here and kick that on for maybe an hour, and it just completely eradicates the smoke.
You go through an awful lot to make sure that this place doesn't smell like smoke. Does she know you smoke? You sound highly motivated.
So that's all I'm saying.
You went through an awful lot.
So that's another funny story. When we first moved in, we had a housewarming party, and I had a bunch of guys down here. There was 5 of us smoking, and I had this thing kicked on. It was working great, and she called me and she says, "It's not working. I smell smoke.
Uh-oh.
We got a problem."
That's bad.
That's what I thought. I went, wait a minute. There's no way, because I even insulated the doors. I mean, the smoke does not go that way. Since this is a negative air pressure room, the air flows in and doesn't flow out, and that's why I designed it that way. And she's telling me I smell smoke, and I got to thinking about it, and I said, "Do you have any windows upstairs open?" And she says, "Yeah, I have them all open." Closed. That's why you're smelling smoke.
Because it's going outside right back into the window.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. But other than that, no problems at all. She loves that I come down here, has my own space, and her whole big thing is her office is right across the hall. She never smells smoke, ever. It never escapes and gets over there.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day I'll be able to do what I want to do and turn that room downstairs into my smoking / podcast room, because it's probably been about 5 or so podcasts since I actually smoked a cigar on the podcast for various reasons. It's either been A, raining outside, or B, unbearably hot.
Right.
Or C, neither one of those, but I had recorded an episode in like a corporate building with somebody, and of course you can't smoke in there. So,
right.
But having just a room, so the weather is now no longer a factor. You can just come and smoke whenever you want to. And I just really felt I was kind of getting frustrated because, like, cigars it's part of the podcast. It's Sunday Afternoon Smokes. It's part of what we do. I always smoke a cigar with the guest. Although several of the last guests I've had have just been ladies, and there are few and far between lady smokers.
Right.
But the weather's just been hot. And I mean, it's just like, if I'm going to do a podcast with a lady, I don't want to sit out on my patio in the heat and smoke by myself.
Right.
It's just, cigars are just communal, and
They are.
It's
a social thing.
Yeah.
100%.
So now the stuff you've got going on in here, man, some of it I see is personal. Like, you've got some memorabilia from your days as a law enforcement officer.
Right.
But you've got some other stuff, like you've got this deep sea diver kind of. Is this personal, or is this okay?
That belonged to my grandfather. That's his picture on the front. There's a couple other pictures over here as well of him back in his prime, and then the one next to that, him in the yellow or orange suit, was the last dive he made in his 70s down in San Diego. So he called that his office. He dove for over 40 years. He was one of the original hard hat divers out on the West Coast.
What was he diving for?
So they originally started off doing salvage diving. So they would go down and find old shipwrecks and recover artifacts, and that's what a lot of that stuff you see in that table right there, stuff that he recovered from shipwrecks. And of course, back in the day, they would get the rights to a shipwreck and be able to just go salvage it. And a lot of companies would hire these guys, and they'd pay them very well.
Right.
Of course, while they're down there, if you see something you like, then you just kind of absconded with it.
Yeah.
Worked out pretty good. So that was his thing. And it's really interesting talking to him when he was still alive. He passed away in 2009 at the age of 89. And fascinating man. You talk about one of the hardest working people you'll ever meet in your life. That generation just was. And he had over 200 pounds of weight on his body when he entered the water. And he'd spend 8 to 12 hours a day in that suit, multiple days at a time, over and over again.
Wow.
Just to make a bare minimum wage to support his family.
Yeah.
So just a super hardworking guy. I never heard him complain one time ever in my life. He never complained about anything, just did his job, and that's all it was. But yeah, pretty amazing piece of history right there. He had it modified a couple times. The round part of the top was actually a communications system they put in later, so he could finally talk. Before that, it was all tugs and trying to figure out how many poles meant this or whatever else.
Right.
But yeah, it was a pretty neat artifact to get a hold of, and I had to display it down here. And that table that it's sitting on is one that he actually made himself.
Okay. Man, that's cool. You've got some football stuff. You've got a signed photo of Joe Montana and Jarrett Rice.
I do.
And you've got Steve Young,
of course,
down there. What else you got cooking in here, man? You just got this is a cool spot, man. You got all of your what are those called?
Patches.
Just patches.
Just patches.
Okay.
Yeah. We usually try to trade. I started a while ago, so I would take some of our patches.
But for the listeners, these are all police officer patches from his time in California,
and all over some are from out of the country. There's a couple from Germany. When we got to go to Police Week, Law Enforcement Memorial Week in Washington, D.C. in 2013 and again in 2015. And when you go there, there's thousands and thousands of law enforcement officers from all over the world that converge for that week. And when you go there, you just kind of trade patches and trade coins and collect things and all that stuff.
It sounds like a place I could sell a lot of cigars.
You could sell a lot of cigars
at Police Week.
100%. Yep. It's probably one of the neatest things I've been to in my career and in my life.
Is it the same place all the time every year?
It's always in May in Washington, D.C., different week of May, depending on what it is. But you should make a trip out there and just hang out for the week, because it's the safest Washington, D.C. will ever be, hands down. For one thing, I mean, everybody's walking around in uniform, and especially the guys from overseas. But it's a really unique experience.
They have an incredible memorial there in Washington, D.C. to fallen officers. It's really sobering to see it.
Is it a permanent memorial?
Yeah, it is. You walk through and you could see all the names, and it just goes on and on and on.
Wow.
It's
kind of like the Vietnam Wall deal, but
yes,
for police officers.
Absolutely.
Right. And yeah, that's sobering. and should invite a spirit of gratitude and humility to whoever is observing that.
100%.
It ought to.
It's pretty moving when you get to see it. You can. It's got a lion and a lioness at the beginning of each entrance, guarding over the memorial, and then all the names are etched in marble that have fallen over the time. So
man,
not actual lion and lioness; those are statues.
Sure.
Thanks for clarifying. Just want to clarify that for the listener.
Yeah, we appreciate the clarity.
We don't want anybody running away.
It can be wild in DC. You never know.
It has been wild in DC, man. Apparently for a long time. Now, not to necessarily get on that topic, but if I went to I have never been to DC. They'd probably be really squirrely about smoking cigars in public. I don't know what the rules are around there.
Oh,
I think it'd be pretty okay.
Smoking all kinds of things in Washington D.C. in the public.
I don't know.
At the least of their problems.
Yeah, well, you can't smoke in downtown Greenville,
right?
Around, it's just I don't know.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
wow,
that's a no.
Yeah,
isn't it crazy?
That's a little odd. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Well, that's one of the things that when we left, if you went over to San Francisco or those places over there, people were smoking joints all day long.
Smoking weed out in public. Yep.
But if you light up a cigar,
that's a problem.
That's a problem. They will,
backwards.
So, speaking of cigars, I wanted to kind of talk about the cigar room. I love it. I think it's great. I'm happy for you. Maybe one day I'll be a grown up too, and I can have my own. That's similar to this. But when it comes to cigars, so I am smoking the Artista Puro Ambar, Artista being a boutique Dominican company. This is Dominican Habano wrapper with a Dominican hybrid Olor binder and Dominican filler. So it's a Dominican Puro. I gave to Justin one of my favorite cigars, the Gloria Cubana Serie R.
Absolutely.
Ecuador Sumatra shade wrapper. Nicaragua binder, Dominican and Nicaragua filler. And to Mike, he has a Torano Dominico, which is a Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, and I think it's Dominican filler.
That's a nice cigar.
Yeah, so you're not Mike. What Justin said to me earlier today is, you're not a super regular smoker, just kind of a every once in a while casual.
Pretty much.
Is that fair?
This room, yeah. I don't smoke much of my own. But
you pay rent here in this room.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So I smoke all the time because I live here.
But because I do it with someone like Justin and yourself who are knowledgeable, I tend to have a real nice one when I get to have one. So I certainly appreciate it. This is really nice.
Yeah, that's just, honestly, that's a very light, mild, smooth, budget-friendly cigar. Like, a cigar doesn't have to be expensive to be good.
Right.
That's probably a misconception about cigars out there. But, there are plenty of really good cigars that are like $8-9.
Absolutely. I would say probably even less than that.
Yeah, $6.
One of my favorite daily smokes is the Jaime Garcia Reserve, the Petit Robusto. It's about $6 when you buy it, and it's a great cigar. It's a little on the stronger end for sure. Little bit more Lajero in there than most, but it's a fantastic cigar. Burns great. About $6 a piece.
Yeah,
not a problem at all. And here's the thing I tell people: if they're going to go get an expensive cigar, let's say you spend $30 or $40 even on an expensive cigar, you're going to smoke that thing for an hour. How many drinks would you buy in that same hour? How much money would you spend on that? If you're enjoying a good cigar, it's something you really enjoy, then hey, maybe every once in a great while, there's nothing wrong with dropping that kind of cash for a good cigar. But you're absolutely right. If you're smoking cigars on a regular basis, you don't need to go out and spend $20 or $30 on a cigar, because there's a lot of really good $10 and below cigars.
Absolutely. And you're right. Like, if you're going to smoke a Toro, you're in it for at least an hour.
Sure.
you put down 3 old fashions, that's $45 or more, depending on easy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easy to put down 3 old fashions with a Toro cigar.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, I hadn't considered that. You know what? My usual kind of status quo or standard operating procedure for somebody that is new to cigars and where they should start. Number one, just when it comes to I'll figure out their flavor profile, like what they're after, but then I focus on price and size.
Right.
You know what? I usually want to give a beginner a smaller cigar, probably something around $10.
Sure.
You know, just because, as we've established, there's plenty of very good cigars that are not expensive. And I just would not want to give a person that's never smoked a cigar, smoked 1 or 2 and is thinking about getting into it, I don't want to ask him to throw down $18 or $25 and hate it.
Right.
Then that's a total turnoff, and they feel like they've wasted money, you know. But if they spend $8, it's not such a big deal if they don't like it.
Exactly.
And if they do like it, then they can turn around and say the opposite. Man, this is great, and it's actually affordable to me.
Right. And what usually happens, or I've found with people that are just starting out, if you give them a really, I don't want to say strong or a real full, medium to full, that's going to stay on their palate for a good amount of time afterwards. And I've had a lot of people telling me, man, I really like that cigar you gave me, but man, the next day my mouth I just had this horrible taste in my mouth, and that turns people off right away. So if you start with something that's not quite so strong, or maybe a little bit lighter, a little easier, maybe a little shorter, then they don't have that problem afterwards, and it'll encourage them to kind of go back and do it again.
I find the cure to that problem is just smoke another cigar.
Sure, absolutely. That or just drink more bourbon. That works too.
Yeah. So, Mike, how long have you been smoking cigars?
Well, when Justin first met me, I was just smoking the fruit-flavored Swisher Sweets. That's why these nicer ones I appreciate. I mean, I really have moved up in the world with this.
I would say.
But honestly, I don't think I had really dabbled in cigars until we met, because I like folks I was hanging out with before weren't much into the cigar stuff. So
Yeah.
Just off and on over the last 30 years, and generally some pretty good ones. I did have one really bad experience in Mexico. Did I tell you that one?
I wonder how many sentences start that way.
Right. No, this one's a cigar story.
Most are food related, but
Yeah.
So I decided, in my infinite wisdom, to go ahead. And again, I've already told you, I don't smoke them that often.
Yeah.
So that's a good time to grab a real Cuban cigar in Mexico and proceed to just burn through that as fast as possible, because you're getting ready to fly home.
Oh yeah.
I was high as a kite. I was talking to people all over the place before I proceeded to turn green and get sick as an animal. So that's a lesson for you kids. Smoke with moderation and smoke them right.
Yeah. So a cigar is not something that it's not a cigarette that you smoke in 5 minutes.
Amen.
Right.
This is an item to be enjoyed and savored, and, and depending on the time, like, this is a sizable cigar that I've got. I'll probably smoke it to the end of the episode, just about.
Absolutely.
And I'm a slow smoker anyway. I don't rush it. For me personally, I can take a Robusto to near an hour.
Oh, for sure. Easily.
Like, sometimes I read some of these cigar reviews and cigar magazines, and they're talking about a Robusto in 40, 45 minutes. And I'm like, are you riding a motorcycle while you smoke this thing and the wind is smoking it for you?
Right.
I just don't understand. I can't, I really sit back with it and slow down and try and enjoy it. But so when did you get into cigars?
So I started, this was early 2000s, I would say. I took a trip. Well, funnily enough, it was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Took a fishing trip.
Here comes another dude.
Yeah.
Well, this was actually a good one. This didn't end up like your little episode there.
Thank God.
No, I went with 3 coworkers, and one was my boss at the time. Great guy. And L.A.
Oh, yeah.
and we went down for a fishing trip, and it was a 3-day fishing trip, 5-day total. Our first day out fishing, had a fantastic time. Caught yellowfin, caught Dorado.
You smoke cigars on the boat?
We did not actually.
Mm-hmm.
This did not happen so we caught all. I mean, we limited out like by noon. It was the greatest fishing day ever. And on the way back in, the deckhand asked if we wanted anything cut up for us to eat up at the bar.
Right.
So we fresh sashimi up at the bar, swim up bar, and our boss at the time, LA, came out and said, "Here, have a cigar." Just brought us all a cigar, and I thought, okay, what the heck? Let's give it a try. We're having a great day anyway. And it was the most awesome experience because we were sitting there. Sun was starting to go down. We're at a swim up bar, eating fresh sashimi.
It's beautiful.
Smoking a cigar, having a margarita. It was perfect. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I could do this.
I can't believe you came home.
Well, we almost did it. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
I can't think of it's hard to imagine a better setting than that.
Absolutely.
You fished all day, or not all day, only half a day because you limited out. But being at this place, swim up bar, drinks, fresh fish, food, friends, cigars, the sun setting, you can see it. It's like, that's heaven on earth.
That's where I go back to whenever I sit and have a cigar. I have never had a cigar and not thought back to that first one in that setting, because that's just kind of where my mind takes me, and that's why I enjoy them so much.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And just been smoking ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started with the Gurkhas and the H. Upmans, and those are and nothing wrong with those. They do.
Dude, H. Upman is a good cigar.
It is.
Especially the ones made by AJ Fernandez.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, you're right about that. You are right.
Yeah.
That's because
I have some H. Upman H. Upman like añejados, but they're the ones that are made exclusively for JR cigar.
Yes.
But they're good.
They are good, and they're not expensive.
No, they're not. They're not. It's like sometimes I feel like and I don't know why I feel this way, but sometimes I feel like those cigars that JR has made for them, like, are these going to be lame?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I guess you just need to consider that JR is not making them. Like, JR is having people who make cigars make them for them. Yep. So, no, I'm sure JR is involved because JR is a massive, one of the largest just cigar online retailers in the world. I'm sure they know a thing or two about cigars.
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure they send their people down to but they're good. The H. Upman Añejados blended specifically for JR cigar, they're good.
They are.
I've also had some cigars blended for JR by Romeo y Julieta.
Oh, yeah.
What's the name of it? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was done by Romeo y Julieta for JR, and I'm like, it's called Devotion.
Oh yeah, I've not had one of those.
It's a good cigar.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just kind of feel like it's just kind of gimmicky, like whenever those cigars that are E.H. Taylor or Buffalo Trace.
Right.
I'm like, are these actually going to be any good? I had some guy the other day tell me that the Buffalo Trace cigars were fantastic.
I've got some of my mini
like
right
them
now.
a lot.
I like them. We found them. So when my other buddy helped me haul all of our stuff out here, we took a trip from here to Kentucky, and we spent about a week in Kentucky, did the Bourbon Trail, hit all that, and went to Buffalo Trace, got one of those Buffalo Trace cigars, brought it back to our hotel, sat outside. It was so good, we went back, and we were an hour away from them at the time. So we went back and bought more, and then when we got back to his place, he ordered a whole box and had those on stamp.
I've never had one. Are the Buffalo Trace cigars, are they just kind of a cigar that was made to pair with Buffalo Trace, or are they actually infused?
They're not infused. I want to say, probably going to get this wrong. I'm trying to remember who. I want to say they were made by Davidoff, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think if we did, if I remember the research we did, I want to say it was Davidoff. If it's not Davidoff, it's another very well-known cigar manufacturer made those 4 Buffalo Trace, and they're not infused. It's a regular cigar, and it's actually very tasty. I'll give you one before you leave here. I've got some in there. Try it. I was a fan. Very, very good.
Yeah. Do you have, Mike, being such an infrequent cigar smoker, when you smoke, do you just smoke for the enjoyment? And do you ever smoke by yourself, or do you just smoke with people?
The only time I ever smoked by myself, it didn't go well. It was in Mexico. But I tend to have it with a nice drink with Justin, and sometimes with our old boss on fishing trips and camping trips like that. I find it very enjoyable, like watching the sun go down with a nice drink, and that I tend to do that with Justin more than anyone. Most of my other friends really haven't partaken in it, but I don't think this is the first time I've had one of these Toranos either. I think
Torano makes some really good stuff, man. Honestly, even though they're super budget friendly, they like their Torano Exodus 50 is, man, that's a good smoke. That Dominico's pretty good. Do you try and pay attention to what you're smoking, or you just for the straight enjoyment? Do you like try to educate yourself, or I don't care either way.
It's relatively infrequent for me, so I don't really keep track of what I've had, but because Justin is pretty knowledgeable, I tend to have good ones when I have them. And
I'm impressed that one's still lit, Mike.
It's and usually I end up lighting them 5 times because I'm such a blabbermouth. But I've only
we haven't been talking that much.
Yeah, no, I've only had to relight this thing once, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I mean that is something for new smokers to pay attention to. Like, you do have to smoke it.
Right.
Otherwise it will go out.
Right.
So if you're with a group of guys and you're smoking cigars, yeah, you can talk, but you can't neglect the cigar, because in essence, you are tending a small fire.
Yes.
There's no flame, but you're tending a small ember in there, and you have to keep the airflow up and all of that stuff. So
gotta keep the cherry.
Yeah, you do. So you've got a couple of humidors in here. You've got one here behind me on your live wood shelf, and then you've got another one here. Give me the rundown. Do you is one like a Maduro and one is Connecticut? Like, why the 2 different humidors?
I wish I was that organized. No, I'm not. The one to your right is my larger one. That one's actually got one of those Cigar Oasis humidifiers in that, and I swear by those things. I've had that for probably 8+ years now, and
I use a Cigar Oasis in my trailer.
Oh, see, perfect.
That's what I use.
Those things are awesome. I can't say enough good things about those. You have to have the room for them. Obviously, you can't put one of those things in a little teeny tiny, tabletop. But that thing has run really well for me for a long time. So
where do you keep it? Humidity wise.
I run about 67, 68, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I don't like to get any higher than that, because I like Dominicans. That's one of my favorites. I know Dominicans are a little touchy when you get too high in the humidity, so I like to keep it around 67, 68.
So what do you how many cigars does that hold?
300, I think.
How many's in there? Roughly.
If I had to count, probably upwards of 200 right now.
Okay.
So not a huge, I don't like to max it out. That's why I got the other one, so I can kind of spread things out. So I generally put my newer cigars in the other ones at first to let them kind of balance out.
Yeah.
And then once I've had them in there for a couple days, at least maybe a week, then I'll shift the ones over that I know I'm going to smoke next into my main humidor and keep it in there.
So this is the one back here. This is kind of like the incubator.
Incubator, exactly.
So whenever you order your cigars online, because let's face it, we have no idea how a distributor is treating their cigars.
That's right.
So it comes from the manufacturer. Now we know the manufacturer has kept them on humidity,
right,
in the aging room after they've been rolled. So probably a bare minimum of 3 months in there, usually 6 to longer, depending on what they're trying to accomplish. But once it leaves the manufacturer and gets to the distributor, I have no idea how JR or Cigars International or
Cigar Place or
Cigar Page or name your place. I have no idea how these guys are treating their cigars. I'm hoping they're keeping them on humidity somehow.
and you don't know how fast they're shipping them out because they may be sitting in a truck for a while. They hit their distribution center and go right back out. So now they're back in a truck. Yeah,
That's not climate controlled.
Exactly. The whole time, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
So I always like to, as soon as I get a new batch in, I'll put them somewhere else and let them incubate for a while and make sure they're not going to split or do anything weird. And once they've leveled out, because I've watched, especially in my small one, you can literally see the humidity ebb and flow based on the cigars you put in there.
They're so dry.
They're so dry, they're sucking all the humidity. So it's just trying to struggle to keep those things at the right level. Once that levels out, then I move them over into the main one because I know that I'm going to probably smoke them.
Yeah. Well, I have read in certain books that because of all the differences of humidity and temperature that a cigar goes through, like a cigar that is manufactured in Honduras or pick your place, whether it's Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, it doesn't matter. It's there. It leaves manufacturer. It gets on a truck. It goes from the truck to another container to get on a boat or on an airplane to make it to the United States.
Right.
It gets off at the docks or wherever, however it makes its way here, onto another truck that, some UPS, FedEx, USPS to get to the distributor. Then it gets off the truck and goes into the distributor's warehouse, and then they are either going to leave it as a whole box, or they're going to divvy it up into a 5-pack or into a sampler pack, right? And they're going to leave it in their warehouse, and then you're going to order it, and they're going to box it up, and they're going to give it to USPS or FedEx. So by the time you get that cigar, it has been through cigar hell.
Yes, 100%.
And back. So, and I said all of that to say what I originally wanted to say, that I've read, for instance, if you're smoking the Gloria Cubana Serie R, I don't know where that was manufactured, if it was in Nicaragua or Honduras or wherever. But the cigar you're smoking right now, if we went to, let's just pretend it was in Nicaragua.
Right.
If we went to Nicaragua for an event and at La Gloria Cubana's facility and smoked that same cigar, it'd be two totally different cigars.
Oh, absolutely it would. Yeah, no doubt about it. Because the conditions are completely different. It's been there the whole time. And your point about not knowing what the cigars go through before they get to you, I always find it interesting because I'll order a box of cigars and the box will show up and the labels have already been cut.
I hate that.
Right?
I hate that. I mean, it's a love-hate.
Right.
Because I know whoever cut it, they're inspecting.
Right.
But I want to open my own box of cigars.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, it also makes me wonder, were they short? So they had a bunch of 5-packs sitting around and they pulled those out and filled the box and then shipped the box out. I mean, which, hey, as long as the cigars are in good shape and they smoke okay, I'm not going to complain too much, but I'm with you. I can't stand getting a quote unquote new box of cigars and seeing all the labels cut, and you can obviously tell the thing's been opened.
Yeah.
So it just makes you question. I mean, I've been pretty lucky with that. I haven't had any problems with the places I order from, but it's one of those questionable things you always wonder about.
Listen to you guys talk about the cigar hell, what it goes through. Pardon my ignorance here, but based on everything you just said, how hard and much more expensive would it be for you to kind of cut out some of that middleman delivery stuff, go a little more direct? Is it that much? Is it crazy expensive?
They all go through distributors.
There's no way.
There's just no getting around it.
No, well, because it's illegal in the United States for a distributor to sell directly to the public.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
I just thought, boy, that'd save you a lot of.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody would be able to love to order direct from manufacturer,
For sure.
but that would cause a lot of problems for the manufacturer because the manufacturer deals in boxes.
Right.
They just ship out boxes of 10 or 20 or 24, whatever their setup is. do the sampler packs, and they don't do 5-packs, and that's not like, they are making cigars in mass quantity.
Correct.
And so it would just be too much of a headache for them to open up the doors to the public. That'd be a nightmare.
Right. Well, then you'd have to start giving tours, and then you have to get out samples, and it'd just be a bad thing.
The rate you're putting these away, I think you could come to this.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, on a regular, I had 3 yesterday because it was just the weather was nice.
One is Labor Day.
It was perfect. Yeah, I mean, I just one of those things. But I mean, I'm a 1 or 2 a day. Really, is about all I get to. So, but that's, I mean, and that's why I got to keep it stocked the way I do, because that's just how it is.
Yeah, I've never smoked that much. On average, I was usually 3 to 4 a week. But there are days where you have several, especially if I'm working an event, like I'll have a concert this weekend that I'm doing. I'll smoke at least 3 on that day, getting ready for the concert. But anyway, for the listeners who are not in the cigar world, just to explain what Justin was saying about the labels being cut, like when you order a box of cigars, it comes to you, and they put a seal, or they put a sticker across the top and down the side of the box. And it's basically the way when you get it saying, this is a legitimate product, it's not been tampered with, the seal is intact, and you want to cut that yourself. But usually that middleman that we order from, because you can't order directly from the manufacturer, that middleman probably is inspecting what they've ordered.
Right.
And so they've cut it. So yeah, it can be irritating.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I've had good experience with it. I've not had any real horror stories with that. Every time it's shown up like that, they've been fine. It just makes you wonder, like, what did it go through before it got there?
Yeah, it's just a little fly in the ointment.
Yeah,
you just there's something nice about cutting the seal on your own box of cigars.
Absolutely, yeah,
it just is. So anyway, speaking of cigars, let me just say to the listener that I want you to experience the ultimate in cigar luxury, brought directly to your location. That's what the Cigar Box is. We offer a curated selection of premium cigars, expert recommendations, and a sophisticated mobile cigar bar experience on wheels. Perfect for weddings, corporate events, and private parties. Visit mobileCigarBox.com to learn more about the business. You can also fill out a booking inquiry form while you're there, and I will be back in touch with you as soon as possible. Also, if you are not aware of the GoFundMe I set up to help with my wife's medical recovery and you would like to help us out, simply visit GoFundMe.com and search for Support Jennifer Stewart's Medical Recovery. We would be very grateful if you'd like to help us, but if not, please just pray for us. We've made some great progress the last 4 months, but there's still a long way to go. All right, gentlemen. On to Natureline. So you both got your Natureline gear on today, man.
That's got to have the merch.
But you weren't sure if this was a visual podcast, right? So
we weren't sure what to expect. So we came prepared.
Prepared. All right. So Natureline Curbing is the name of the company.
Correct.
And before we get into the weeds of what Natureline Curbing is, just tell us what it is. How can people follow you on social media if you have it, and what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they're interested in what you do?
So the best way to find us is through our website. It's naturelinecurbing.com. That has the links to all of our social media. It's got photos of past projects. It's got all of our contact information. As you said, we can also fill out a form to have us get back in contact with you. Generally, we like to have a little bit of info before we go out and look at a site. So we ask for about how much you think you're doing, kind of what your landscape looks like to begin with. We can go into that more later, but website's the main thing, naturelinecurbing.com.
Okay. And so what is Natureline Curbing?
So that's something people don't know a lot about. It's kind of a new concept, especially in this region. The way that we came up with this idea like I said, we were building the house, got the house done, started doing the landscaping, and as everyone knows, it rains a lot out here. It's a real factor to deal with. I started looking around for a company that did what we do now, and I couldn't find any. There were a couple here and there, but not quite to the extent of what we were looking to do. What this does is it just controls erosion. It creates a delineation between your different types of landscaping. So you've got grass, you've got mulch, you've got grass and rock, grass and hay, whatever you've got, pine straw. Every time it rains, the rain's going to wash down. It's going to move all that stuff around for you. Then you have to go back out there and rake it back into place. What we do is we lay down a permanent. It's a I don't want to call it concrete, but it's a mortar solution that looks like natural rock, and it's a straight line or a curved line of rock-like mortar that stops the rain from washing away your other landscape types, and it makes it a lot easier for edging and landscape care and maintenance. You can go to the website and see pictures of it, and it makes it a lot easier to deal with your different landscape types and keep them separate.
Yeah.
It's very it's very artistic and really rock-like, with a color with highlights. It's not just a basic stone 90-degree angle curb. This takes on a natural formation. Like it's something, as Justin says, you've got to look at the photos. You got to get on the site and take a look at it to really appreciate it. But it has a real natural look to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember after Justin did his house here, contractors and neighbors just stopping and gazing at it and asking for business cards. And it led to a few more jobs around here because, as he said, it's just not something as common as where we're from. There's not too many people doing it yet. So that's what gave Justin the idea, to jump on this. And so we got the training together, we got the equipment together, and we just decided to take a run at it. And it's been met with good reviews. When we do it, the people are pretty happy. So
yeah,
you have to take a look at it.
A lot of people out here, and it looks fine. They use natural rock. They'll get the big, river rock, and they'll put that out there or they'll get the plastic barrier to separate things, or just regular prefab stone, and that's all great. But the water flows through that. It's going to go right through the middle of that, and it's not going to stop washing out what you've got. I will say we can't stop all erosion because of the amount of rain. If you've got a real steep slope, in fact, I just went out and did a bid for a gentleman that he wanted to control erosion coming down toward his driveway, and he had about a 60 or 70% incline, and I told him our solution is just not for you because the rain's still going to come down. All that's going to do is create a ramp for it. So it's not for every type of landscaping, but if you've got any need at all to stop erosion, I'd love a chance to come out and look at it for free, give you an estimate, give you my opinion. And like with this gentleman, I told him this you've got too steep of a slope. It's not going to work for you. I'm not going to try and sell you on something you don't need. And that's one of our main things, because we want to be honest with people and tell them what we really think. But I'd love the chance to come out and just take a look at it and give you our opinion. And if we can do something for you, we'll absolutely do it.
Yeah. So kind of like, if I can take a stab at it, what Mike was saying, it sounds like Natureline Curbing just kind of happened. It wasn't, I want to start a company.
Right.
It just, you did it, and then people were like, that's great. Can you do it for me?
We found a need. Yeah.
But you weren't intending to start a company?
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's just something, he saw the need and the potential for it, and we just went with it.
Yeah, like I said, it started at my place, trying to find somebody that would come out there and help me, because for people that obviously don't know my house, we've got a long front area of grass that slopes at about a 30% grade right down towards the front of my garage. And then I've got some landscaping in front there, and we had a bunch of mulch out there and some plants and whatnot. The first couple rains, I was out there every single day trying to rake all that stuff back into place and control all that rain runoff. And so we came in and put a curb in front of that, and we directed it in such a way that now the rain flows to the side and it goes down the dry creek bed where we want it, and now we have no more problems with erosion and losing our materials.
So what's the angle that you say that's too much? Or does that vary depending on the landscape?
It does vary, because you can have a pretty steep angle, but if you're not getting, it's kind of like the whole, I'm trying to describe this the best I can. The more momentum it builds up over a steep angle, the harder it's going to be to stop that. And that's going to require, a French drain or something like that. But if you've got a gradual slope or you've got a small steep slope, we can control that. If the rain's going to hit that and not rush it from a great distance away, then we can completely control that. And even if we need to re-engineer where the curb goes, because we can create curves and different angles so that we can collect it as it's building up and then rush around. I just had a guy ask me for a quote at a local church, and they've been having nothing but problems with erosion towards their main building. They've got their parking lot up top, and the parking lot slightly sloped towards their main building. They have grass between the parking lot and the building, and they just want a curb run from the top along that parking lot just to control the rain that's coming down the parking lot so it doesn't all flow down and go underneath their subfloor. So there's all kinds of solutions we can come up with. And like I said, this is something that I'm very passionate about. Mike's passionate about. I don't want to come out there and tell you we're going to do something if we're not going to be able to do it. If I see something that's not going to work, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Something that also has come out pretty nice is when we do tree rings. When you have these folks with the trees that have mulch around them, slapping one of these curbs around it, you'll see some of these images on the website, but that looks particularly nice.
Yeah. So you're not just strictly doing erosion control, but you're also just like somebody wants a solid barrier in their yard, front or back, or wherever, to be honest.
Right.
Like just like you said, the ring around the tree to contain the mulch, and it's separate, it looks great, or in between the flowers off the back patio and the rest of the yard, or you name it, right?
That's a great point. It's not always going to be a strict erosion issue. Sometimes it just flat out looks good. It's just a nice ring around the tree, or separating the flowers in front of your house from the lawn. Some people might not have a particular problem with extreme erosion, but it still looks good.
Well, I like that. I was doing yard work with my youngest son the other day, and he's running the mower. I'm on the weed eater, and we don't have any kind of barrier in between the flower, the flower bed and the grass, and we have mulch. And it's like when you get up to do the weed eating, then you're just flinging mulch everywhere, and it's like, am I going to take one of these in the eyeball?
Right.
And, but the barrier would prevent that. And it would make it easy to edge, because it's just, and it's stone-like, so your whatever, your line,
Right.
your trimmer line,
Yep.
whatever, not a problem.
And we've heard that too. This is going to be so much easier to edge.
Right,
Because we've heard that reasoning too.
Because it is angled. So the mold that comes out, so the process, we've got about a 24-foot gooseneck that's an all self-contained piece of equipment. So it's got a mortar mixer on the back. It has all the mortar sand. We've got the equipment that actually extrudes the mold, and that mold comes out at the high point, it's about 5 inches high. At the low point, it's about 2 to 3 inches. So it slopes downward, and what that allows you to do is put all the mulch or your other pine straw or rock or whatever on that high side, and then it slopes down toward the grass. So when you come around and you edge,
nice.
you can just edge right against it, and you don't have to worry about disrupting anything else.
So it's high on the inside and then slopes down low.
Correct.
On the outside.
Yep.
Correct.
Nice. So you've got a nice little retaining wall, more or less, for your rock or your mulch or your whatever it is you've got
Correct.
in your garden.
And it makes it more visible. I mentioned the ornate nature of it, the natural rock patterns, which vary. There's different patterns you can request, and different colors you can request, and different highlights you can request. So you get to see it a little more from the street because of the angle outward.
Right. So people can customize the color and the pattern to fit their house or whatever it is they're trying to accommodate.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, we
That's
just did
cool.
a job down the street here for one of our neighbors, and their trim was all black. So we did the base color was a very dark color, so it matched the trim, and then we added some highlights to it, and it came out looking really good. They were extremely pleased with that one. So and we have 4 different stamp patterns that we can put on there.
You got to stamp it by hand, or does the machine do that?
We stamp it by hand. Yeah, we actually put down a color. It's a release. It's a concrete release that's colored, and then we can do multiple other colors along with it. And then we have to actually get down there and I don't want to give away our secret, but it's not a real stamp. It's a well, you'd have to see it. We're not supposed to talk a whole lot about it. We went all the way down to Florida, and we spent 2 days down there just learning that process. And there's only so many companies in the U.S. that do the same thing that we do. They don't. It's not a roller stamp. It's not just a stamp you push down and leave. We do some other stuff as well. So the grain and the texture is really deep. And depending upon the stamp that you choose, we have one we call lava flow. It literally looks like lava flowing through the rocks. There's all kinds of different patterns you can choose from, and depending on how deep and how bold you want those patterns, we can completely customize it to you.
We do it in such a way that it doesn't look patterned either. It has a natural look to it is what we want.
Yeah, because there's no patterns in nature.
Right,
correct.
Right.
So Natureline Curbing, we want it to look as natural as possible.
Exactly. Absolutely. So that's what we're going for. And it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's honestly, it is kind of a fun process. I mean, we have my youngest son comes and helps out, and we have a couple other guys that come help us out. And it's a neat process. It's kind of artistic when you get out there and you start running the lines and doing the different contours, and we can cut reliefs in there. So if you've got an area, we had another neighbor that we did a job for, and he had a huge ring in the front of his house. And it was so large, the rain was actually getting into the ring. So what we do is we cut several reliefs in the bottom, and allows the rain to exit that ring without taking mulch with it.
Yeah, so it's not pooling up.
Right, so it's not pooling up. And that way it looks like part of the rock. So it looks like a natural formation when we're all done.
That's pretty awesome, man. So I'm curious. So you decided after doing your own yard and then requests from other people that we're going to start this company, and you get the equipment, or you go down to Florida for training, or go to training and then get the equipment, or whatever the process was. So how did you pull this off for your own yard without the equipment?
Well, we did the training and got the equipment first. We went down to Florida.
So you had the equipment for doing your own house.
We did.
This was the starter. This was the test. This is where we did our first job.
Okay.
That's how we got started. So I couldn't find anybody around here that would do what I wanted to do.
Oh, I see.
And I mean, honestly, this is huge in Florida. It's huge in Alabama. It's huge in Texas. I mean, it's all over the place, but there's not a lot of that out here. And so when I started looking around and couldn't find anybody, I kind of got the idea, well, maybe this is something we could do out here, and started looking into it. Found a company in North Dakota that manufactures all the equipment. They were putting on the training down in Florida with one of their partners down there. So we just grabbed my truck, drove down to Florida, went through 2 days of training, and we picked up the equipment down there. They had it shipped to Florida, and then we just drove it back up here, and now we have it here.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So your house was the trial run.
It was the trial run to see if this is something we could actually do.
Well, how did it go?
I think it worked out pretty good.
Well, I just meant, no, I haven't seen it. Maybe on the way out, I'll take a peek at it. You can show me. But like, how was you went to the training, and then you come back here, and you get to practice what you learned.
Right.
So how much did you have to redo? Was there a lot of trial and error? Like, was it perfect right out the gate?
It was surprisingly, I was a little apprehensive until we went down and did the training, and the guys that put it on were very good. They walked us through the whole process. Like I said, we spent 2 full days. There were 2 12-hour days down there.
We were doing curbs down there.
Yeah, they had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We actually went hands on.
Yeah, they have a guy down there that's one of their partners that has, what do you have, 50 acres? He has a a farm down there. Basically, he clears an area,
Let's just do it,
and just turns you loose, and you just spend that time just getting used to the equipment. And I've found, I mean, I've been fairly handy my whole life, so I've done a lot of that. Not that specifically, but I've done things like that. And once we got our hands on it and realized, I mean, honestly, the equipment does the bulk of the work. It really does.
Yeah, sure.
So once we get that running, we came back here and tried it out, and we learned a couple things early on. One of the little things we found out early on is that you can't start off with wet sand, because there's a certain amount of moisture you want in that mortar sand when you start the mix. And if you've got too much to begin with, it's a little hard to work with.
You can't take it out.
You can't take it out. Right. You can always add water, but you can't remove water once it's in there.
Right.
So the curbs at my house came out fine, and that's because we had to do a little extra work on them because they were coming out a little bit wet, but that was a good learning experience for us. And
I thought we came out real well.
Oh, they did. They came out fine, and we actually didn't have to redo anything. It's kind of like playing with putty. Once the machine lays it down, you can do a whole lot of stuff with that once it's down. You've got probably an hour or two to work with this
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Oh, it's, yeah. Well,
Okay.
We have other additives that we put in there that keeps it pliable, that we can work with for a while. So that's what allows us to do some of the things that we do with the curb, to make it look more natural and rock-like, because we can play with it for a good long time.
So you can imagine the weather kind of limits us sometimes.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Yeah. You have to schedule it around
if it's going to
crazy
rain
weather sometimes, or
Yeah.
if it's too humid, it'll shorten our lead, our time we can mess with this stuff. So we have to schedule it carefully when we have a job, make sure we can actually get out there and manipulate this stuff right, keep it the right dampness. You don't want it drying up too quick and cracking up on you when you're still trying to work with it. So we have to gauge that and watch the weather before we can schedule things.
And a perfect example of that is the tree ring. So if you think about it, this machine is a good sized machine. It's probably 2.5 feet by 4 feet that extrudes this. And so the machine is on rollers, and it's got the form in the front. So as it's moving along and laying the curb, you can't run over the curb that you've already got. So the only way to do a tree ring is to go all the way around. And when you get to the very end, you've got to skew off to the side and then stop it. And then we basically take that piece that just came off, and we have to shove it back over and create the rest of the circle, and then blend it all in. So you can work with that stuff for quite a while. It's a fun product to work with. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, do you leave it long and cut it, and then connect it to the ring?
Exactly.
And then how do you kind of massage it together? So it's seamless.
We use trowels. We actually can slide underneath and move it over to where it needs to be, and then cut it off where it is. We can form it down. So if you're starting on like the edge of a walkway or something,
Yeah.
we can form it down so it meets the walkway and then builds up and goes from there. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. It's pretty fun to work with.
And we are creating breaks in it too.
Yeah.
Obviously. So
It sounds like like we had some people make or lay us a real nice paver patio at our house, and then they made some beds on the outside before you get to the grass, and then they put pavers on the edge. But pavers, just over time, they get loose.
They do.
Not the ones on the patio, but the ones on the edge that separate your flower bed from your grass. They get loose, and I'm like, just listen to what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't mind just pulling those pavers up and have that curb put there, because it's just one long solid piece. It's not going to get loose over time, because it's just a solid piece in place.
Once it cures, it takes, we tell people to try and leave it alone for at least 48 hours. Once it hits 72 hours, it's at full cure. And I think whether they told us the strength is roughly around 3,000 PSI. So you could run this thing over with a tractor or a car. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. I mean, once it's formed up, it's rock solid. It's not moving anywhere. And it's Yeah, it makes it a lot easier once for what you're saying. In fact, one of the jobs I've got coming up, that's exactly what they're doing. They've got a bunch of paver bricks in front of their house and by their flower bed. They're going to tear all those out, and we're just going to run a solid curb all the way around. It just looks more aesthetically pleasing, and it doesn't move. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right. So if I call you, if I pick up the phone and I dial, Natureline Curbing's number, and Mike picks up, and I say, "Hey, Mike, I'd like for you guys to come out to the house and take a look, and because I'm thinking about XYZ." Walk me through that process. Like, what does that look like from that phone call moving forward?
Well, you're gonna be leaving a message at that number when you call. You leave a message with your basic information, and then we take it from there. We check out your property. There's a method, as he said, online that you can request an estimate and give us some basic information. We will reach out back to you, go over some things, make sure that we're customizing this the way you want, answer any questions you have about the color patterns, about the stamping patterns. That's when we'll start having contact with you. And then we will come out and we will take a real solid measurement. And as Justin said about that job we just went out to, tell you, okay, this is an area where you could really use this work. This extreme angle over here, isn't going to do you much good. So that we'll have a chance to interface with you and give you a better estimate, a better idea of what you're going to need. Yeah, and make sure we're giving you everything you want, pattern and color wise.
Mm-hmm. Part of my process when I go out to bid a site and look at a site or a job is I'm also looking for access for our rig, because it's a pretty good sized rig. So we try not to take up space on the road. If we do, we'll put out cones and kind of make it as convenient as we possibly can. But we try to be as close to the job as we can. We've got a really cool motorized wheelbarrow that it saves us so much time. So especially on some grades.
Saves your back.
Oh, it saves it big time.
I mean, you can imagine you can wet mortar.
Yeah, I mean, you can, with one hand, you can just drive this thing. It's a pretty awesome piece of equipment. But I'm looking at ease of access. We bring everything with us. We don't need to hook into your water. We've got a 100-gallon water tank on board. We have solar panels on top that charge everything, charges all of our equipment. All of our stuff is self-contained, so we're not connecting to anybody's utilities or anything. We don't need power. We don't need water. We don't need anything. We just show up and do it. I just need to make sure that I can get in there, that I don't mess up anybody's, grass or driveway or something with our rig, because it's a good-sized rig. So that's one reason that I like to go out there ahead of time for accurate measurements. We use a roller measure. I want to see exactly what we're getting into, how many feet you're talking about doing, ease of access. And then once we get out there with our rig, we lay down a tarp so we're not leaving any debris. We clean everything up. Everything goes away. Once it's done, you're left with a perfect curb.
Yeah. No, that's pretty sweet. So, and you've probably answered this question just throwing stuff out here and there throughout the conversation, but like, why is what you two gentlemen are offering to the upstate, why is it better than what people can pick up from Lowe's or Home Depot?
So the stuff at Lowe's and Home Depot, and I did this before. I did it at my last house, actually. I went out and I loaded up a big pallet full of those Lowe's bricks, and I went out there and I spent all day long killing myself trying to get this thing set up in my backyard. The rain goes right through it. When you edge, the grass goes through it. The grass will grow through those bricks, and it'll continue to spread into your other areas. When we put down this barrier, the grass stops right there. It will not grow underneath this, and it will not grow through it because it can't. So it's just a permanent solution is what it is, versus if you want to go out there and load up a pallet and haul a bunch of rock around, have at it. This is a much better, in my opinion, a much better way of doing it, because I've done both, and I've seen what this does in terms of saving your back, your longevity, and your erosion control. It just makes it easier. And then once you go out there and mow and edge like you talked about, it's so much easier. You don't have to worry about it.
And that's the practical part of it. But now you tack on the natural, artistic look to this versus just a blocky pattern. That's the actually what we heard from the guy who's removing it. He said his wife can't stand the sight of the stuff we have in here.
Right.
It's just looks cheap and blocky.
Right.
And to see something a little more patterned and natural and just as more effective because of the way we lay it out, it's twofold. It's practical and it looks a heck of a lot better.
It's more practical and it's more aesthetic. It's more pleasing to the eye.
Exactly.
It is. And I just took a video on our, I think I posted it on our Instagram. We were having a rain. In fact, it's a video from in front of my own house, and the rain was just pouring, and it was coming down hard. And I walked the curb and showed the water was just getting redirected all the way out to the end and right into the dry creek bed where it was supposed to be.
And you can see that on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
So, what? I know that the company's relatively young.
It is
for you too. So, well, I guess like Project One was your house.
It was.
So when was that?
That was back in February, March, somewhere in there.
So we're 6 months.
6 months in.
6 months in.
Right. Yep.
All right. So how you guys how are you guys doing like work wise? You staying busy or you getting some traction?
What we've found is that as soon as people see it and realize what it is, then they go, oh, okay, that's something that we really want. And that's what happened here. The second we did my house, we had 2 neighbors right away, and we've got 2 more around the way that want to get it done as well. And then a couple more have gone through our website. In fact, one gentleman said he knew about it because his sister lives in Florida, and so he wants it. So the biggest struggle I guess we're having right now is that it's hard to describe what it is until you see it, until you look at it and realize what it's actually doing. You don't know that you need it. So people think they can just put a plastic barrier or the rock or whatever
The
else.
plastic barriers are terrible.
They're horrible. I can't stand those things. Yeah. And we've had people that have had those up that can't wait to get rid of those things. So that's the biggest challenge we're facing right now is trying to get more visuals out there so people can see what it actually is, because we can talk about it all day long, and until you actually go to the website and look at the pictures or look at the video or see us on the social media, you can't really picture what it does. And when you take off out of here, you can take a look at the front and then you'll go, oh, okay, now I see what it does, now I understand. So that's kind of been our biggest challenge right now, but we've been fairly busy. I mean, we tapered off in the summertime just because of this awful heat wave we had, because I'll be honest,
96 degrees and humid.
96 degrees and humidity.
That's why I said there were several podcast episodes I just did not want to sit on my patio and get roasted trying to smoke a cigar. That's not primo cigar weather.
Absolutely.
We're getting there though.
We're getting there. Oh, this is definitely prime time right now. That's, like I said, I actually didn't use my cigar room the last 3 days because it was just so nice out there. I was on my back porch instead. Yeah. Because I just like seeing the natural view. And
but anyway, you had a little bit of a slump in the summer because it was just unbearably hot.
And the mix sets up really, really fast.
Right.
So that's a big challenge. We need a little bit of time to where we can move it from the mixer down to the extruder, get it on the ground, and then start working it. If it's that hot, it's going to set up really, really
that
fast.
Water's evaporating out of there and it's getting hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
so
hard.
I think about 8 or 9 months out of the year is strikeable.
Absolutely.
There's going to be some months where it's just too wet. Can't do it in heavy rain.
It's too wet or it's too hot.
Right.
One of the two. Yeah. But I think you have a pretty good window. So do people, after you lay it down, I know you said there's, like a full cure at 72 hours.
Correct.
Do they need to do anything like spray it, wet it?
We take care of all that.
You do all that?
We have a product that we use. It's a pretty expensive product. It's a cure and seal. We do 2 coats of that before we leave. So once that's done, it seals the outer surface, and it also allows the mix to continue to cure while it's there. So they don't have to do a thing except keep people, pets, and kids off of it.
And shut their sprinklers off.
And shut the sprinklers off. That's our big thing. So just keep the rain off it. I mean, you're probably within 10 to 12 hours. After that, it can get wet. It's not going to kill it. But if you get heavy rain or heavy sprinklers on it within the first few hours, it will it'll discolor it a little bit. And so that's why we're real careful about when we schedule these things. We need to make sure we're not getting a lot of rain, or we're not getting, especially the sprinklers. That's a big thing. But then after that, it's keeping people from walking on it. Because when we first did the one up by the street at my house, that same night, I was looking out my front window, and one of our neighbors was walking by with her dog. And dogs like to zigzag back and forth. And I had to run out there and tell her, just hold off. don't get close to the curb. So what we do now is we flag it to keep people away from the curb until it cures.
That's a good idea.
Because it's not unfixable. We can go out there and we can cut it, and we can run a new bead and put it back down. But it's a lot easier if it's just left alone, and it's just a lot less work that way.
Yeah. Is there any kind of warranty on this thing?
So what we tell, honestly, I
mean, it's more or less concrete, right?
It's concrete. Unless you go out there and really
hit it with
abuse it. Yeah. You could even, I've been out there. In fact, after I did ours, we score one of the edges, and then we tell people afterwards, all you gotta do is just step on it, throw it away. But if it's not scored, if you try to beat on that thing and get rid of it, good luck. It's not coming up. So it's a very permanent solution. There's no doubt about it. It stays pretty well.
They can go out on their own and apply sealant over it years down the line. Occasionally,
we recommend about every other year.
Yeah, preserve it.
Yeah, there's a very easy sealer, very inexpensive sealer you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever else. Get a spray bottle, walk around, spray it once or twice, once every 2 years or every other year, and you're fine. That's all you got to do. There's nothing else you got to do to it. It's completely
maintenance-free. And it won't discolor over time?
It does not discolor.
That's just to protect it over the years from you get some pretty extreme weather here.
Yeah. This one's it's been all through the summer, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So
the stuff on your yard, yeah.
Right. Well, and the one down the way, I went back and took a walk by there just to check, because after this summer, we put that one in April. Yeah. I think that was the darker one that we were matching to his trim.
That's a good one to watch.
And it hasn't changed at all. It's still maintaining.
Nice. So how are you guys, how are y'all reaching out? Like, are y'all trying to do markets? Or like what's the marketing? What's the advertising? Obviously when somebody sees it, then word of mouth, and they tell their neighbors, or, some guy. Like the people who have a relative or a friend that lives in Florida, like this guy, that makes sense. But what are y'all doing to spread the word locally about Natureline?
We're getting some pamphlets out there. We're going to leave them at some of the landscape companies. They've agreed to do that for us. I think in this next spring, we're going to probably go out to some of the home and garden stores or shows. Mm-hmm. We ran 4 samples on pieces of wood.
Yeah.
And we added some landscaping to it to make it, show kind of what it does. And we'll probably take that. We'll probably get a booth out there, one of the local landscape home and garden shows in the springtime, and get that out there.
It'd be cool. Lay out like a 3-foot piece or something like that. And
yeah.
Well, and one of the ladies liked it so much, she's got our sign up in her yard, and we're gonna have pamphlets. So I'll be going out and doing some straight out,
just canvassing neighborhoods,
bringing around.
So that's
like neighborhoods where we've done it.
Yeah.
I'm planning to go back to the one where this nice lady's house is, with our sign up in her yard, and just go around, hit some doors, and just say, hey, you can see it's right there if you want to go take a look at it.
Yeah, y'all need to hit all the new construction neighborhoods and all that stuff. I lived in one. So the people that did our patio, the wife used to work for my wife at her company. And now they're friends. My wife delivered their babies, so they helped us out. But they did our patio for us at cost.
Nice.
Because they wanted the advertisement for the new construction, because we were some of the first people to move in that neighborhood. Right. And we got them several different jobs as a result of that.
Right.
So yeah, like new construction neighborhoods are a no-brainer. Now it does the way, I'm sure y'all know, but the way they do new construction anymore, it's just, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt with your rig. because the streets are so narrow, and just, you know,
It's
those
challenging.
developers squeeze every penny out of it they can, and
Sure.
houses are right on top of one another.
That's a
and-
good point.
But still, like, the new construction neighborhoods would be probably a good option for you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, there's just the markets to have a 10 by 10 pop-up tent and have your couple of different 3-foot pieces with various colors and different stamp patterns, and just kind of showing what you guys do seems like a simple
Yeah, I think
option.
I think we'll probably be hitting some of those up in the springtime. I was doing the research. I don't think there's too many, not many home and garden shows in the fall, but springtime is probably going to be a big hit for us. So, you know, the good thing, and I mean, I speak for Mike as well. We're both retired. This is kind of something that we're just passionate about.
A passion project.
We're not looking to make a living off of this. We're doing this because it's something fun. It's very interesting to us. It's something we really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we don't get too many jobs here and there, I'm kind of okay with it as long as we do it the right way. The jobs that we do, I want to make sure they're done correctly and that people are happy with it.
I need to hook you up with what's their name? Matt and Amy Bucksbaum. They own Greenville Fire Pit Nights. And do you know who they are? You ever heard of them?
I've not heard of them.
So they make custom made fire pits, and they use I don't, like, he could tell you what all they use, but it's basically, it's a weather resistant metal, so it's not going to rust out. It's not this, you know, $150 piece of crap fire pit you're buying from Ace Hardware, right? This is, you can leave it out all year. It's going to be fine from here. It's going to be here longer than you will.
Wow.
But they would know what all the good home and garden shows are. Like,
very nice.
They do all that stuff. So yeah, I'll get you hooked up with them.
That'd be great.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, and I'm not opposed to, you know, I've talked to the landscaping company that put my grass in. I told him, I said, hey, I'll put your name out there if you want to help us out too. So,
yeah, that's the way it works.
yeah, for sure.
You know, it's just, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, who you know, who they know, and we all just kind of work together. I don't know what there's not really a segue between, like, Natureline Curb and cigars.
Except
but if I could figure out how to make it happen, I'll definitely put you out there.
I enjoy smoking cigars while I'm out there sometimes. So it is the outdoors.
After a day of that, well, trust me, you can use a cigar.
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, I mean, I met you out at your show at Chattooga Bell Farms out there, and I got to say, your traveling rig is just awesome.
Thank you, sir.
That is an amazing little piece of equipment right there.
I appreciate it.
In fact, we're still talking about trying to get you out. My oldest is going to get married here soon. We're thinking about trying to set you up to come out there for the wedding.
Yeah, man. Where's the wedding?
It's right here in Walhalla. So
Oh, really?
at the Balk Night House. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Cool beans, man. When is it?
it's in October.
Okay.
Coming up fairly quick. But
yes, it is.
When I saw your rig, I'm thinking, man, that's an awesome little piece of equipment, and what a great setup, because everything is so well cared for, and the humidity with the Cigar Oasis and great selection. We talked a little bit, and I bought a couple of your cigars and brought them. They smoked perfect. They were awesome. You got a great setup, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a passion project there.
For sure.
You know, just kind of like the Natureline thing. I mean, but like cigars, you know, I got into them. I really enjoy them, and I wanted to do something that was class,
right,
and high quality, and just had a great look to it. And that's kind of what I came up with. And I paid. I contracted with Ryan Lockwood at his company's called the Wheel Estate Collective.
Very
because
nice.
he does like all trailer reno. Like, he's been he did some work for a friend of mine who has a mobile seafood market. He's worked on a guy doing like a food truck that does sushi. Renovate. I've seen him working on like old Airstreams, turn them into B&Bs. He does all that kind of stuff. You know, people that want to have van life, and so they buy a old piece of junk ambulance, and then he turns it into whatever it is they want, you know.
Nice.
So he custom built that for me, that trailer. People have asked me, to say, I love the, like the upfit or the renovation job you did on this teardrop. And I said, thank you, but it's a 100% custom build. I wanted the teardrop look, but we built this or he built it. We built it from the ground up.
Well, you can tell. I mean, just looking at it, that was the first thing when we walked into the show. That's the first thing I saw, and I told my wife, I said, we got to go back over there because it just looks so cool. It's an awesome build, and like I said, your setup is fantastic, and it's extremely classy. So any kind of event that you be having, you definitely want that thing there because it just looks great. I mean, it's just an awesome.
Thank you, sir. And it, like, because we were there in the morning during the day and the sun's out, and that's fine. It still looks good, but like she looks her best at night.
Oh,
yeah, because like when the hatch is up in the back and the neon sign is on, and then there's the LED lighting that runs along the inside of that belly of that window where all the cigars are and lights everything up, and
very classy.
the crushed gold velvet, and just that's what I went. I wanted something that looked great, and that's what I came up with, and I'm very proud of it.
You should be. It's awesome. Like I said, that's the first thing I zeroed in on when we walked into the show.
Well, and I have just doing the concerts and just everywhere else I go, if I'm there, like there are people that are not interested in cigars, that do not smoke cigars, and they just like, I just want to see what this is because it's
right, draws them in.
100%. They're like, this is great. This is cool.
Well, I'm gonna want that guy's contact information too. I have a couple of good friends that run a pizza thing out of Greenville that go around, and
who is that?
I'm trying to think of the name of their company. I know them. I drink coffee with them, but I don't know offhand the name of the company. But they run a pizza truck around, and it's really good stuff. But I don't think they've got the type of rig you're talking about that you have.
Well, no, I mean you couldn't
nice
do that with pizza.
Yeah,
that'd be a challenge.
Yeah, it definitely would.
But you could still take any trailer and make it
nice.
Yeah. And people do it all the time, like it's a big deal now to do like a whatever, a little coffee bar, whatever, and like an old horse trailer,
right,
or whatever. And so it's about the person and their vision and what they're going for.
Right.
And because for me, it was about cigars, I wanted to exude class. Like I've said this before on a previous podcast, so I won't belabor it, but like if I was going to open a brick and mortar lounge, I already know exactly what it would look like.
Sure.
I would want to go back to like big band,
yes.
50s.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of that classy vibe.
Absolutely.
Like sometimes I look at our country and I wonder what the heck happened.
Right.
And I mean, I'm young, comparatively speaking. I'm 45. I was born in 79. But, you can go and you can look at old Americana and you see pictures of, whether it's L.A. or places in New York, and it's the 40s and the 50s. And dudes are wearing their suits at the beach.
It's just classy.
Yeah, it is now. I'm not sure, like, that's an extreme example. I'm not sure that a suit's great beach wear. you know what I mean? But it's just, or even like an old Yankee Stadium or Boston,
Yes.
Like guys are in suits, the ladies are in dresses, and it's just like, there's something about that. Our society has been for decades spiraling downward, and
I would agree. I would definitely.
We're bringing a taste of it back.
Yes,
Why not?
Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of like what the cigar box is about, and I want to get to where, I've got to collect it, and of course I've got to find a place to store it. But you can take my rig and create a whole, and there's guys that you can create an outdoor lounge, right? You bring in the couches and the whatever, but I don't want to just bring in like your standard outdoor furniture. Like the weather has, just like for Natureline, when I want to do the weather has to be nice, because I want to bring some leather couches and some velvet furniture.
Sure.
And because you haven't seen my trailer, if I just bring some standard like all-weather patio furniture that you would buy from Lowe's and put it next to that,
Take away from it.
it takes away from it. It doesn't look right. It doesn't belong.
Right.
But if you bring the right furniture to create the outdoor lounge, now
Now you're set.
now you're cooking.
Well, don't you have a really good jazz night downtown here, I hear?
Yeah,
Those-
there's
oh,
downtown
boy,
Seneca.
tell you
Oh,
what,
Jazz on the Alley.
I
Hell
think
yeah.
you could do something really nice there.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people about that. They probably won't allow smoking.
I've
Right.
gone down there and smoked cigars.
Okay, well, is it about to kick off, or is it going, or when is Jazz on the Alley?
It goes all through the summer. It runs from 6 to 9, right down there on Ramcat Alley. They bring in live music.
It's was like every other Friday, or
It's every Thursday.
It's every Thursday.
every Thursday
You'd
through the
be
summer.
hit there. A scene like that.
Yeah, and every time I go down there, I'll bring a cigar and smoke a cigar, and there's other people out there smoking cigars.
Oh, nobody says a word, huh?
No one says a thing. It's an outdoor environment, so
And if you make it a classy environment like that,
Absolutely.
his rig and some places to sit,
oh yeah,
people get a couple pops in them, you'd be popular.
oh yeah,
I-
it's a neat little spot.
Well, whenever I first moved to South Carolina, I landed in Walhalla, so I'm very familiar with the area, and then I'm good friends with. I'm good whenever you send me your address. I'm like, oh, I know where that is. I drive this way all the time
Right.
because I live in Easley now, but my kids live mostly with their mother in Walhalla, so I drive this road literally all day.
I'm out of Greenville.
all the time. So, but I'm good friends with the owners of Blackwater Coffee Roasters in Seneca. I don't know if you're
Oh, okay.
familiar with them. Are you a coffee
I've
drinker?
heard- oh yeah, for sure.
Well, Blackwater Coffee Roasters, they roast their own. It is a roastery, so
Nice.
yeah, you got to check them out. It's right on. What is that? Is that still 123?
The main.
Yeah.
The bypass 120.
Yeah, 123. It's right before you get. It's right there on the right hand side. Well, if you're heading like from Clemson into Seneca,
Right.
it's right there on the right hand side before you get to like the railroad tracks.
Oh, okay.
So there's like there's a Wendy's.
Yes.
It's right across the street from the Wendy's.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So go over there, tell them I sent you.
Absolutely.
They
I'm gonna
make
check it out.
really great stuff. I mean, like all of their lattes and their cappuccinos and their like cold drinks and cold brew and all that is really good. But also, he roasts their own coffee there
I
too.
probably just go buy their beans and take them.
Yeah, that's usually what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good pour over. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
We've gotten off of Natureline Curb, which is
That's
totally fine. I think we kind of covered most of
Absolutely.
Oh, no, you
Of-
you got it.
of what we needed to talk about. So, but speaking of homes and getting your curb appeal and all of that in order, if you are looking to make a real estate move in the upstate of South Carolina as a local realtor with Sedan Joyner and a member of Nexus Group, I'm your guy. I aim to get you the best deal in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of disturbance to your daily life. So let's team up and find your place in the upstate of South Carolina. Call me today or text 864-207-2316 or visit my website, Chris Strother, that's STROTHER, chrisstrother.sedanjoiner.com. All right, so look, I started us on a subject, which I think the two of you probably have a lot of input on, being former law enforcement officers, that I just kind of feel like her country is spiraling downward. And maybe we want to balance that a little bit, just like law enforcement. You deal with a lot of unsavory people on a very regular basis.
Correct.
So it's easy for the cynicism to set in. And of course, I mean, you were dealing with law enforcement in the Bay Area of San Francisco,
Mostly
California.
Oakland, California.
Okay. Oakland, California. So, first question: you started as law enforcement officers. What was your? Well, what do you call you guys, rookies? What's your rookie year? Your very first year as an officer?
Well, we both started off as civilians, actually. We were both technicians, which is a civilian position to start with. So we got to see that aspect of it, where, I mean, our job was just, we mainly worked in our main jail, which is a huge jail. It's
Around 1995.
around 1995 is when we both started. So we did that for a very short period of time, just a few months, actually. went to the academy in September of 95.
Yeah, that's about right, actually. Yeah.
Right. So when we came out as rookies in April of 96,
Yep.
We spent the first several years in working our jail, because that's where we start.
Santa Rita Jail.
Everybody starts there.
Housed about 4,000 inmates.
Yeah, roughly. And
It's a small city, man.
it is. It's the fifth.
Yeah.
I think at the time it was the fifth largest in the country.
It was really ahead of its time.
If you imagine, it's about a quarter mile wide by a half mile long. Houses about 4,000 overall. So it's good size. So you learn a lot, and I think there's a distinct difference between different police agencies, sheriff's offices. Some sheriff's offices have people that strictly work the jail and don't work anywhere else, and they're correctional officers. Where we were sworn deputies. We didn't have correctional officers. So we started there. Everybody starts there. And then from there, you get to move out somewhere else that you hopefully want to go to, in which case it could be the streets, or it could be the courts or contracts or wherever else.
Airport, transport,
yeah.
all kinds of options.
And I think at least for me, and Mike can speak to himself, I think that period of time being spent in that atmosphere really allows you to understand people better and kind of see, you build a rapport with a lot of the folks that you're going to be working with later in a different position or different area. So, and I'm talking about the people that were incarcerated there. You learn very quickly that respect is a huge thing. If you don't have respect for people, you're not going to get respect back. And you talk about the changes in our culture and where things are going. The thing that I see has declined, at least in our line of work, is the level of respect. And that goes both ways. I mean, not that, there should be more or less respect on either end, but I think that you see a distinct lack of respect from people towards what we used to do. And that has created this kind of atmosphere that you're seeing today, where it's just, people feel like they can just do what they want. They don't have to be respectful or law-abiding in some ways. And I don't know. I don't want to.
I'm going to let you keep going on this. Think about what specifically changed from the time we started and by the end of our career. What was the biggest trigger that led to all types of anti-law enforcement sentiment and problems? And if you don't think of it, I'm going to say it.
Well, I can think of a few, but I'll let you say it.
A camera with a phone and social media
Correct.
changed the world.
Well, that's, in my opinion, because I was thinking that is a lack of respect is because now you can say whatever you want, however you want, to whomever you want, behind the safety of a screen on your couch.
Right.
That you would never say to them to their face.
Right. Correct.
And over time, that just desensitizes everyone to common decency.
Right.
And leads us to, partly where we are now. One of the things I was going to ask you, though, is if you started in the Oakland area in, would you say 95?
95, yeah.
And you were law enforcement officers there how long?
26 and 27.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was going to ask you, how things were different 27 years later than when you started, for better or worse.
I think there were good and bad. And I'll be honest, I'm a huge proponent of the body cameras. Those have made everything a lot more transparent. And it shows, because I'll be honest with you right now, the overwhelming majority, if not the 99.9% of people that I worked with and did the job with, were doing it the right way for the right reason. There's always a bad apple.
Absolutely.
In every line of work, there's a bad apple. I'm not going to say there's not. But where we got vilified a lot or drawn into was the he said, she said things. And without having that rock solid footage showing exactly what happened. And even now what's happening is people are cutting out just the little piece they want and that's all you get to see. You don't see what led up to that. And so that in my opinion is very good. When we first started, and I know when I first got out to the street, there was a different level of respect where if you did your job the right way and, hey, you know what, you got caught, that's the way it was. There was people didn't fight as much as I think they do now and resist as much as they do now. And that's the whole thing. You can look at almost every incident that's gone sideways, at least in the last decade or two, and the one simple word that would have fixed all that is compliance. You don't get to fight your case there. You wait till afterwards and you can
That's what court is for.
Exactly. That's
Right.
exactly it. If people would just comply, whether you think it's right or not, that's not the time to challenge what's going on. You know, you have a time to do that, and right there when you start taking it to another level, that's when things go sideways in almost every single case you look at. And that's what I saw.
Yeah, I can definitely add to that. I experienced older inmates who had been convicts. They'd been through the system so long, they'd been through prison and back out through county jail. And I noticed the older inmates, they knew when they had something coming. They knew when they had stepped the line and done the wrong thing, and they took their punishment. They took what was coming. And they often resented the younger inmates and stuck up for the deputies because they saw the lack of respect and just the insane behavior, uncalled for behavior sometimes. And you saw that in the different generations of incarcerated people. I had conversations with inmates where they would be apologizing for what had happened because it disgusted them to see, when a deputy or police officer is doing the wrong thing and being disrespectful, nobody feels sorry for them. I mean, they get it coming. But when you're doing your job the right way and there's no mutual respect and there's nothing but backlash and resistance, nobody wins there. And so you get to body cameras. We need them now. Those cops have to have them now, because to protect themselves for what happens later when they got to go physical on somebody or shoot them, you have to be able to show, look at what caused this. I go up to the car and the guy is spun out on fentanyl or meth or something, and he's completely non-compliant, and it's just out of control. When we started, we didn't deal with too much of that. You'd run across that now and then, but I think it's really ramped up, unfortunately, and it's leading to a situation where not a whole lot of people want to go into law enforcement. They're having a harder and harder time recruiting people.
I would not want to be a cop.
And I'm here to tell you, I loved my job. I was always proud of it. I'll be thankful for it till the day I die. But I probably wouldn't go into it now. It's just a different world.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Well, we've talked about this before. When we first started, they were coming out with all these new things that had to be done. And to us, that was just the way it was.
Yeah.
To the old timers that have been doing this for a while, they grumbled and complained and said, "Oh, this is terrible. I'm never going to do this." But to us, it was just the way it is. So I think that's kind of a generational thing with.
Depends on when you come into the force.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, the amount of paperwork that's required for even the simplest thing has grown exponentially. And near the end of my career, I was one of our patrol watch commanders, and to me, it seemed ridiculous the amount of time these guys would spend documenting everything and going through all their stuff. To these guys, they just, okay, that's just what I have to do. They didn't think too much about that because that's the environment they'd been brought into, so they just expected it right away.
But it takes away from the amount of time they can go out and be proactive and do their job.
Absolutely, it does.
And that society loses for that.
Yep.
When they've got to fill out federal forms talking about how they felt about the stop, how they perceived the subject, did they think the subject was gay? These are real questions.
That's a real question.
These
I
are
think he's
really
gay.
That's an actual
federally
question.
mandated questions
See,
that these cops have to fill out on every contact. So think about that for a minute. I'm out there doing my job. Nothing goes wrong. And I have to fill out this documentation, breaking it all down so some federal bureaucrat can run a study later to show how many of a particular racial background, sexual background that these police officers have dealt with in order to stack the deck against them and allege that they're being racist or sexist. Questions like, did you perceive him to possibly be this? I mean, it's really gone too far.
That's wild because, like, to me, that's immaterial.
Should be.
I mean, this is a traffic stop because he blew through a stop sign.
They're doing
It doesn't matter if he's
They're
gay
doing
or
it to
black
check
or white or
reports.
whatever.
Right.
He
They're-
broke the law. Like,
They're doing it to create studies later so that if there is a negative incident from a federal level, they can come and say, well, your agency tends to pull over a lot of black lesbians. You know, I wish I was joking, but it's really kind of insane.
that is insane.
I'm 100% believer in holding the police accountable. I'll be real clear on that. They're charged to do a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may be challenging, but when you're going to give someone a badge and a gun and give them the legal authority to use deadly force, you're damn right they should be held to a higher level. So I'm not defending unprofessional, shoddy police officers who should never have a badge.
Yeah.
But as Justin said, we were out there for a long time, and that's not what the people we were around were out to do. Nobody wanted to go out and shoot people. No one was going, there was never a talk about, let's go get certain people. That's just not real. You know, it was, you got an area to patrol, you got a job to do, and I didn't know what the race of some guy that I pulled over until I got up to the window.
Yeah.
You know, so that was our reality. We were out there trying to do it the best way we could. And unfortunately, it only takes a few knuckleheads and enter social media, enter the cell phone cameras that I brought up, and you've got all this junior journalism going on. And unfortunately, it gives a lot of people in society a really negative perception of the whole profession because of the handful of guys that just may have in fact done it wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And I won't defend them. So we saw that change while we were there. But nonetheless, no regrets. I look back on it with pride. I too finished as a commander of a unit, a lieutenant overseeing the operations of an international airport. And I loved my job. But you really start to feel sorry for the guys on the line now
Yeah.
that are jumping through all these fiery hoops.
Man, I can't even imagine being the law enforcement officer responsible for the goings on at an international airport.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So lay it out there, man.
Well, Justin can relate to this too because he did some time at that same airport.
He ended up finishing his career there. I was there at a mid-level, and I'll be honest, that was probably one of the best jobs I had. I had probably one of the most fun jobs ever working at that airport because predominantly people there are in a fairly good mood.
Because they're traveling.
They're traveling, they're going on business trips or vacations or whatnot. So you're not dealing with a lot of the same problems you deal with on a regular basis. And I just I thought it was just a really cool place to work.
Where do you think we run into trouble? Where do you think it hits the fan out there?
Where does it
Think about what happens at the airport.
Okay, all right. Let me see. Well, you know, there's the people who've been flying a long time, and he's you know, he's already drunk off the plane and headed to the airport bar. That's probably not
There it
it,
is.
though.
There it
Is that it?
It's a challenge at the airport because when they're in the airport and they've had something to drink and they forgot that they can't mix it with certain prescription medication, things like that happen at the airport. Some people have to drink to fly. And I've had cases where a guy just had one shot of something, but it mixed with his medication. And I find him flat out on the ground at the wrong gate with all his ID and his money on the floor, and he's passed out cold. That was one of the first things I worked out there when I got there. But it's usually alcohol driven. But the challenge about the airport is when things happen on the plane,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different world.
Yeah, that's
a
federal
different
airspace.
jurisdiction.
Yep.
So now the captain has a lot of power on that plane that I don't have. So the police at the airport just don't go storming airplanes and ripping people out and throwing them out. The captain decides that guy's gone, call the police. And only then can we go in there and do certain things. So one of the things we had to learn at the airport was when they haven't come through customs yet, they're not in our country yet.
Right.
And you know, so Customs Border Patrol has an authority that we don't have out there. We can't go in there and do anything until they've handed them over.
So
to
what is
us.
that area
So it's
considered? Is it federal property then? If you're on the quote unquote outside of customs?
Well, it's just
immigration?
until they pass through that, they haven't legally entered our country yet.
Right.
So
I mean,
yes,
obviously
so
they're in quote unquote America, but they've not
cleared
come through the proper checkpoints.
Correct. So, we had cases. I had one where this airline decided he didn't want to go all the way to San Francisco. He thought he'd stop in Oakland first and get some gas for some reason. Well, what happened was he sat out there on the tarmac for 3 hours in the heat in that metal tube, and the people on the plane started a revolt. There was a damn near mutiny. They were turning on the stewardess. They were ready to take, and we had to bide our time and wait and arrange a team to go up, and it's really complicated.
So what happened?
In the end, we ended up getting people out and getting them on the ambulances and getting them medical help, but it took a while. There's a bit of a little standoff there. It's a little complicated. Whereas anywhere inside the airport terminal, if you got a guy
That's your thing.
beating up his wife or drunk, those were the common things.
Yeah.
Some domestic things, a lot of drinking incidents. We'd go deal with those issues. But, as Justin said, most people are just good folks that just want to go on their trip or get where they want to go. So in most days were really good days out there.
Yeah. All right, man. So that's a really cool position. Cool story, cool account of a fun time as far as a law enforcement officer in your career. I'm curious about the Oakland Raider games.
Oh yeah.
So you shared with me before the show that you were part of the detail working whatever stadium that was, Raider Stadium or whatever. What was that all like?
I had a pretty good spot out there. My position was on the field, so I was usually on the visitors' side around the 40-yard line. It sounds really fun and great. You get to see a free game. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you're standing there your entire time. You're staring at the stands because all you're looking.
You're scanning.
You're scanning
for trouble.
That's all you're looking for the whole time. There was one, and it got a little dangerous at times. There was one time in particular, Oakland was playing Arizona, the Cardinals, and I was staring up into the stands, and the big TV, the Jumbotron was up there, and out of the corner of my eye, I happened to see Larry Fitzgerald catch a pass as he's heading towards the sidelines, and I saw myself on the Jumbotron at the very last second, and I had sidestepped, and he flew right past me as he was going out of bounds. And he's a fantastic guy, by the way. He jumped up, and as he's running back onto the field, he patted me on the shoulder and he said, "You were almost an NFL highlight." So there's a bit of danger to that, but I mean, I really enjoyed my time working those games. You get to be right down there on the field and see all the players, and most of them are just really, really great people. Where the bad stuff happens is out in the parking lot with the tailgates and
end up in the cheap seats.
End up in the cheap seats. Absolutely, that's where the problems occur.
So, how many people fit in Raider Stadium?
Oh boy,
a lot. 30,000 or whatever, 50,
I'd say
60,
60,
80. Okay.
There, yeah.
And how many officers are in total, whether that's in parking lot? So break it down for me. You've got officers in the parking lot. You've got officers in the field. You've got officers
undercover.
Okay, you got undercover officers.
They needed so many of them. The Oakland Police Department took half the stadium, and the sheriff's office took the other.
You've got officers on every level of the stadium. You got officers. How many officers in total are on site?
Hundreds.
Yeah,
between the two sides,
two agencies,
and that's obviously still. I mean, if something got really out of hand, there's nothing you can do.
It's a mess. I mean, I think
the most out of hand thing you ever had to deal with was the aftermath of the Raiders losing the Super Bowl.
That was a big one. That was the Oakland Raider riots. I was out for that. That was about a 16 to 18 hour day. Started off okay. They actually partnered one of us with one of the Oakland officers just to do routine patrol down in the downtown area. when everything jumped off and the riots started, mostly in East Oakland, they had us go out there, and then we just started forming skirmish lines and trying to push people certain directions. And
National Guard was out there too.
National Guard, I think, came out at one point. It got so bad that EMS fire started collecting between our lines just because they didn't want to get assaulted and burned down and attacked. So they were kind of huddled up between two of our skirmish lines, just trying to keep safe. That was an all-night process right there.
I know I took it away from the Coliseum. I'm sorry, but
No, that's fine.
that was the wildest Raider thing I ever heard. Was
there was
you were out there? I wasn't at that one.
there was a lot going on that night. I can remember going by, I think it was a Kelly Moore paint store, and they had broken into the Kelly Moore paint store, and they were throwing cans of paint at the main windows in front of the store. And I remember seeing cans of paint stuck into the plate glass windows from the inside. Just absolute mayhem the whole night.
I don't understand why people do this.
It baffles me. I have no idea. There was a good amount of overtime.
That was after they lost to Tampa Bay, right?
That was
2000
that was that 2003
or 2002, 2003. You're right.
Oh yeah, 02, 03, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Well, I just don't understand why people behave this way.
I don't understand.
It's
it.
foreign to me.
I think well, here's the thing. I think it's an opportunity is what it is. So you get a large event that gets people collected in a certain area, and the energy starts to ramp up, and then you get the people that come in to take advantage of the lack of response. So you get people that, and you see it all the time. I mean, every time that starts to go sideways, you get these instigators that come in and they start doing all the bad stuff. It's not necessarily the fans, so to speak, that are causing the problem. You've got outside instigators that are coming in and just taking advantage of that situation.
And then you wind up at mob mentality.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
That's exactly what
And
happens.
you can have decent fans who are just a little drunk and going off, or protesters. The same thing happens.
Yeah.
It's this element that comes in behind it, because law enforcement has their hands tied dealing with crowd management, and they start looting and they start breaking things. And they're really not a part of any protest, or they're just taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Sure. So how do you wind up in South Carolina?
That's a great question.
Two separate reasons, but
Yeah, two separate reasons. So around 2014, 2013, 2014, the wonderful state of California, and I say that sarcastically.
Yeah, no. Well, see, I spent almost 20 years in Southern California.
So
I moved here because I was down near Ontario.
oh yeah, I lived down there for 4 years.
So I was in Cucamonga.
Okay.
And then I moved here in the summer of 19,
Okay.
which was just, a year before COVID.
Yep.
Which was it was the gracious hand of God on me.
You got just in time.
Yeah.
For sure.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
so after near 20 years on the force, because you said 2014, 2015.
Yeah, they passed a wonderful law called Proposition 47. Yeah,
Was that Jerry Brown?
that would have been Jerry Brown.
Yeah, because I was there during that time.
Right. Proposition 47 basically made it legal to do whatever you wanted. There were no more punishments for crime. And this was about midsummer. I think it passed somewhere in June. And the law was effective the next day, and it was retroactive to everybody that had been incarcerated previously before that. So all these,
Like how retroactive? Just
to everyone. So I'll tell you how bad it was. The election happened that night. They passed Prop 47. I went to work as the patrol watch commander the next morning, and I was sitting in our muster room with 30 deputies, and we were all on our phones trying to figure out, Googling what the new laws were, because they had put nothing out for us.
You suddenly couldn't arrest people for citizens.
so let's see. So the state government makes a law that applies the very next day and applies retroactively, but does not communicate with law enforcement about how this affects their job.
Not at all. In fact, our jail population went from about 3,800. You were working at that
I'll
time.
explain that because I had to deal with that part.
Yeah. So like we used to, so for example, if somebody went into a business to burglarize that business, or what they would call steal, but if you enter a business or a residence,
That's a great word.
well, it is. I mean, if you went into a business or a home with the intent to steal something,
right,
that becomes burglary.
That's different than breaking and entering.
It's a different classification because
burglary is a whole different matter.
Right. If you wander into a store to get a Coke and you go, man, look at that pack of chips looks good too. I'm just going to take that pack of chips and walk out. Well, that's not premeditated. So that's just theft. But if you say, okay, I'm going into this business and I'm going to steal that cash register or I'm going to steal this, that's premeditated. That makes it burglary.
Oh.
Okay. What this wonderful little law did is it made that no longer an arrestable crime. It's just a citation. If we catch you, it's just a citation that you promise to appear later. And guess what? If you don't appear later, it's not a big deal. We're not going to come looking for you because they make it so you can't. So all these crimes that had been previously incarcerating people for were no longer crimes. So Mike, working at the jail, he dealt with the aftermath of the retroactive stuff.
What that did, and this included a lot of drug crimes too. A lot of things you could hook people for that were drug-related fell off the table. So it gets thrown to the people in this massive jail. I told you that we were running close to 4,000 deep. Oh, guess what, boys? You got to go through all their paperwork now and figure out who we got to let go. Figure out who needs court cases to get discharged and released just like that. And you need to work on it right now. So I managed the inmate population. I was the classification lieutenant. I was over the gang unit and the inmate management. And I had guys at desks 12 hours at a time running through papers, trying to figure out who we were legally mandated to get out. So all of a sudden, these guys were getting released left and right and not coming back in because they'd get back out and do the same things they were doing before, and Justin's guys on the street couldn't arrest them. So California quickly went to a high property crime state.
This was the beginning of the end.
Yes. And now you look at what happened in San Francisco. All these businesses just got sick and tired of it and shut their doors and left.
Yes.
Because
when you have to put
these people knew if I take less than $900,
if you have to lock up toothpaste, it's absurd.
It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when some of those cities saw enough tax dollars run out the door from businesses, jobs getting lost, businesses leaving, they started putting the brakes on it and trying to figure out a way to do some damage control.
Put a number on it, Mike. What did the jail population go from?
Cut in half. I went from having to find space for some people because you have to house them the right way so they don't kill each other, to all of a sudden it went down just about to half.
Had plenty of room.
Yeah. Oh, and then we had lots of room. Yeah. And hey, if someone's going to go back out into society and do well, we all want that. We don't want to jail everybody, but that's not what was happening. They were going back out and not getting arrested for those types of crimes anymore. So, if you did some heavy duty stuff, if you went out and killed somebody or things like that, of course you're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
But a significant amount of things that society can do without, we're open game now.
We had one guy that got arrested 3 times in one shift. One 12-hour shift, he was arrested 3 times. He was arrested, brought in, immediately released on a citation, went out, did the same thing again, got arrested, brought back, cited, released, and then he went out and tried to break into a car in the parking lot of our staff parking.
It's just insanity.
Nuts. So when that happened in 2014, 15, whatever year it was, that was when your radar started going off. That I'm thinking I probably need to pack it up.
My wife
or making an exit plan.
Yes, we started making an exit plan. We have a travel trailer that we use to take trips around. My wife's a teacher, so she gets the summer off. So we started just taking trips all over the country in the summer, trying to identify an area that we wanted to go to escape, basically. And we ended up out here and fell in love with it and started the process. And then, like I said, about 2020, right during COVID, we made a couple flights out here, which was a nightmare. Flying during COVID was about the worst thing ever. But we did it. We came out, and in 21, we found this piece of property. And then I retired in 21, and in early 22, we made the move out here. And that's about the time I found out that he had bought a house out here too.
And the only reason there was that disconnect that I didn't know about what he was doing was the sheriff's office is so big. We didn't work together all the time. So I'm out at the airport when he's out doing something else. And I didn't know all the plans he was making. I knew he was looking for some place to fish and be on the lake. That's all I knew. I happened to be out here on a Christmas vacation out of Lake Hartwell, and a realtor got wind of the fact that I had 2 weeks. And
Too bad it wasn't Chris.
Yeah.
It was just a fluke. We were looking at a house down the lake from my in-laws, and she overheard that we were here for a while. She said, "Why don't you take a look? While you're here, why don't you take a look?" Because like Justin, my wife and I knew we got to get out of here. As soon as we retire, we're moving out of this state. And I lived in California all my life, up and down, northern and southern. But I knew it wasn't the place to retire. So I start taking a look at a house, and I came across something in Greenville, and I just looked at her and said, "It's not going to get better than this."
No. Leave California, pay cash.
Oh, insane. So she came out here quicker than me because we already had a house and got the job working in the field. I let my son finish up high school. Oh, yeah. I let my son finish up his high school. That's the reason I took a little while.
Sure.
I didn't want to rip him out of there.
Yeah.
And then I made 4 long-distance trips with U-Hauls across the country and retired. And it was only around that time when we bought our house that Justin said, "Holy crap, you're less than an hour away from where I'm having my house built." So it was just a fluke that we ended up this close together. And then it was sometime after that he had his revelation with cement work and and so we reconnected.
Well, if either of you've got California buddies that are thinking about coming to this area, give them my number.
Oh, we do. They're already coming. I mean,
well, you've got myself.
Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, they've come all over to get out of there.
I think John's going to be the next move.
Yep. We have one more that may be coming, but we'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of people that are talking about getting out of there, and we'll definitely forward their information to you and yours to them.
Absolutely.
The only thing that ever keeps them is they've got elderly parents or something that really makes them have to stay there for a while. But short of that, they jump out of there as fast as they can.
Yeah, well, I mean, y'all know this. Just the U-Haul stats show it. The last several years, that just people are leaving California in droves. And no matter how...
New York as well.
Yes, New York, New Jersey, California, it's just insane. And no matter how slick Greasy Gavin can talk, the numbers don't lie, man.
Yep.
People are fleeing the state of California.
Well, they see it and they feel it in their pockets. The taxes and just the horrible way of living out there. I mean, we got to the point where my wife didn't want to go take our dogs for a walk in the afternoon because she was being accosted by people all the time.
Well, here's the deal. So since you lived down in the Ontario area for a while,
Orange County is also where I was.
Oh, well, that's much nicer than
Santa Ana.
Yeah, that's much. See, because my older brother used to live in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, super nice. Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, all that stuff. But but I'm sure you're familiar with Ontario and all that.
I am.
Right. So I have 4 kids. That was 2019. It's almost 6 years ago. So they would have been, at the time when I left, there would have been 14, 12, 10, and 6. And so they were getting older. And there's many reasons I've left, but just one of them is, like, as my kids get older, getting near 16, 17, 18, they want to do stuff with their friends. They want to maybe go to the movies, go to the mall, go to the whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, you're absolutely insane if you think I'm going to let my 17-year-old son go to Ontario Mills Mall by himself with his friends and without me.
Right.
Yep.
There's no way.
It's not.
Now, that's the stuff I could do when I was 17.
Right. And that's it. That's the change, right?
Yes.
You used to just go off and come home eventually. And now you'd have to track them.
Yeah. I'm like, no. And so I'm like, I need to find a place where I can where I can allow my kids to do the things that I was able to do.
Right.
And Southern California is not the place for it.
That's a good point.
Not anymore. I was born in Santa Barbara, so I know the area real well. So Just go visit. I visit my mom there as often as I can, but it's that place. I mean, it's all just gone sideways. The entire state, north to south, and it's a beautiful state. It's a gorgeous state. There's no reason for people not to be comfortable there, but they've allowed these laws to be changed.
Yeah.
And people always ask, well, how come there's so many more homeless encampments? And you know this as well as I do, because they used to take people.
Because they allow it.
Well, it's that, and they would
And
also
the weather
arrest
is
people
good too, so
Yeah.
you can sleep out there
Well,
360 days a year
And
survive.
here's the thing too. They used to arrest people for drug crimes. Okay, whether you're a user or a seller or whatever else. And before you got out, they would make you go through a rehab program, and you'd have to prove that you had actually made an attempt to rehabilitate yourself and all that. They don't do that anymore because it's no longer a crime. So what are these people going to do? They're forming these tent cities, and they're stealing stuff from the stores to pay for their habit.
It's just a drug/sex market.
That's all it is.
That's what it
Too
is.
bad.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the U-Haul thing. I tried to get a U-Haul big enough to make one trip. I finally found one place. They wanted $15,000.
Oh my gosh.
For
Supply and demand.
So I luckily, thank God for my buddy back home. He used to race cars. He had an old car hauler. Not old. It was good shape. We used that to drag all of our stuff out here and put it away.
Yeah.
Because I
That's what
couldn't.
it takes. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's such.
I did like
believe it.
the U-Haul pods. I
Right.
packed up 4 of them, had them shipped, and
But on
Yeah,
a
man.
positive note, you talked about wanting your kids to be able to do what you did. And that's why I'm so happy here, because I got a couple of young boys.
yeah,
And you know what? I don't bat an eye when they hop in the car and go out and do some things, go to some places, go out to eat. I'm not worried about it.
yeah,
And I felt the same
yeah.
way.
It's a good spot. This is a good spot here
Oh, it's an
in South Carolina.
South Carolina is a beautiful state.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I'm grateful every day about where
Yeah,
we're
man.
at.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I think that about does it. I think we've had a great conversation, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Look, now that you know about the podcast, just what I do, how I run with it, interviewing the local entrepreneurs and business professionals. I don't know if you know any of those around here, but if you do, who are a couple of people you think I should have on?
That's a good question.
I'd love to talk to the criminalist.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be super fun.
When we go to the park,
It
she's
is,
always the one they want to talk to.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's all about that
Oh,
kind of work.
you got some fascinating stuff going on.
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, you got any ideas?
Trying to think.
Oh, I need to talk to your people that run the pizza truck.
Yeah, they're real nice people. Court and Amanda. Boy, I'd have to look up the name of that, but they
Yeah, you can get it to me
but they
later.
do real well. I'll get that to you. They're nice folks, and I tell you, their stuff is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good pizza, and they do parties. There's places they go throughout the week.
Yeah.
and they do real well.
One of my favorite pizza places around here is Coastal Crust.
I haven't tried that.
Well, see, they're in the West Village of Greenville.
Okay,
A little bit of a hike for you, but
Yeah,
for
but
you,
I need
Yeah,
to check
that'd be
that
easy.
out.
Coastal, you know where the West Village is?
Yeah.
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 So I used to work at that butcher shop at the end, Revival Butchery, down there at the end of the West Village.
Okay.
But so it's like, it's right near the front of all the shops. It's like the second one because I don't know how. Like, do you ever go to the West Village much?
Is that near? Is Unlocked Coffee out there in that area? If you had that,
Yeah. So Unlocked Coffee is right there because there's like 6 and 20 Distillery, Unlocked Coffee. There's a little chocolate shop right there. Then there's the Barron House.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you come back out to the main road right
Uh-huh.
there and you turn right, there's that jewelry store.
Yeah, I think I know.
Right next to the jewelry store is Coastal Crust Pizza, and it's bomb diggity, man.
Well, let me suggest something to you.
Yeah.
Because we just mentioned that business, Unlocked Coffee.
Mhm.
You ever been in there?
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, they run a hell of a business.
Yeah.
You know their background? They're out of, I think, South America.
Yeah.
They do a hell of a job.
Yeah,
If
well,
you ever-
see-
if you've never interviewed that guy,
Yeah, no, I haven't.
they do it right,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Sure.
I've gone there. I love their
Yeah, I've
coffee,
been there
love the way
several
they- The
times.
way they treat people, their food.
Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't recommend that place enough.
Shout out to Unlocked Coffee.
Yeah.
And Coastal Crust
I
Pizza.
mean it. And I'm
Absolutely.
going to try that pizza.
Dude, they're the bomb. Like, so that you go in, they have a legit, I think it's imported from Italy, but like a wood-fired pizza oven.
Oh.
They bring in all their dried oak,
Oh,
start
that
the
sounds
pizza.
good.
Dude,
Oh, wow.
it's freaking, it is delicious.
Now you're talking my language there.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
You ever been to Hans and Franz German brew pub out there in Greenville? That's
The only German thing I've been to is Trapdoor.
Oh, I love that place too. Yeah.
I'm not a big beer drinker, though.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then that might not be.
Yeah, bourbon's more my speed.
All right.
For sure. Yeah.
I just don't care. Like, I'll drink a few, but they have to be like maybe a stout or a porter.
Okay.
I don't really care for beer that much, but I can deal with those. And stout and porter goes well with a Maduro.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, I don't know how familiar you are with downtown Greenville, but there's a really great cafe there called Cafe West. And I got to know this guy because one of the things he does is they do coffee as well. And they identify in each community that they get their coffee pushed out to, they get people to identify where they could donate money to a need, a charity, and they put a whole lot of money into that. And in the
Nice.
case of this one, they go after the opioid epidemic in the Greenville County area.
Yeah.
And so he does the coffee thing and
Nice.
makes sure that they contribute a lot to that. He's a real interesting guy. His name's Scott,
Okay.
one of the guys who runs that place.
Yeah.
But they do a great
What's that,
business.
Cafe West?
It's on Coffee across the street from the courthouse,
Okay.
and it's right off Main Street. It's called Cafe West.
Okay.
And Scott's a fireball and a very highly motivated guy.
Yeah.
And they really run a good business.
Nice. A couple other good spots in downtown Greenville. If you want some nice pastries, hit up Old Europe.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, Old Europe is good.
Well,
And,
it's a great walk just to go
Yeah.
through there and hit that place.
and if you want some really good, legit northern Italian food, go to Ristorante Bergamo.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's right above Coffee Underground.
Oh, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
That sounds good,
good
too.
stuff.
I do like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the chef. We're friends. Chef JP. It's
What's the name of it one more time?
Ristorante Bergamo.
Bergamo. Okay.
Yeah, it's legit, man.
Check that
It's
out.
good stuff. So, any recommendations?
Trying to think. We got a couple friends that own. It's called the what is it called? Bougie Cafe. They're out in Anderson.
I have not interviewed anyone from Anderson yet.
I'll have to hook you up with them. They are running a cafe at a golf course, and I'm trying to remember the name of the golf course right now. It just got renovated. It's a beautiful golf course, and they've got a cafe out there that is just phenomenal. They make everything from scratch. Mindy is a fantastic cook. She just does everything, I mean, beyond good. They've got pastries. They've got breakfast sandwiches. They've got burgers. They got everything out there, and it's right on the
Nice.
golf course. So I want to say it's called Bougie Cafe. And I'm trying to think of the name of the golf course. I'll have to give it to you
Yeah,
when
man.
I think of it. But they're fantastic people. We make a trip out there all the time just to go see them and have some food because it's really good.
Yeah, I'd love to interview them. It sounds good.
Oh yeah, they love it too.
All right, man. One last time. What's the website for Natureline?
It's naturelinecurbing.com.
Naturelinecurbing.com, and from there you can get their contact info. You can also find their social media links. It's on there. Check them out. I'm sure they could make some improvements to your current landscaping.
Absolutely.
So, Justin, Mike, man, this has been fun. I hope you
has.
guys enjoyed it. I have.
Very much.
That was a
Pleasure
perfect cigar too. That lasted I just barely put that thing
Yeah.
down. It was a finger burner.
Yeah,
It
man.
was outstanding.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time. All right. Look, if you are in need of my services as a realtor or with a cigar box, you can get me direct at 864-207-2316. You can visit mobilecigarbox.com, or you can send me an email if it's real estate related to cstrother@seedanjoiner.com. You've been listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. I appreciate it. Share with your friends and your family and on your socials, and share it with the world, because Sunday Afternoon Smokes is really sweet. We'll see you next time.